Good morning, YouTubers. Happy Labor Day. Doing a quick garden update. I know it's been a few weeks since I did one because I have been a little bit swamped over here, just kind of keeping things going. We've had a bunch of guests and been busy with a wedding and some things along those lines. But got a quick moment, and I'm going to get out here and show you what's been going on in the garden. So first off, all the broccoli has come out except for one plant, and I'm going to pull that very, very shortly. This is just making its first head. This is kind of my slowest guy, and it's going to get pulled out real soon, probably this weekend, and then I'm going to be replanting all of this stuff for the fall. All right, over here, our watermelons are going really nicely. We've got some good-looking watermelon down there. There's actually 3 of them right there. Cantaloupe are looking great right there. They're going to be ready to harvest soon. I've been checking their stems, that's how you see. And if you look up the watermelon trellis, I've actually got another bunch of watermelons in here hanging on these vines. There's one right here. There's another one right here. It's a little bit of an experiment to see how big these guys can get just hanging on the vines, but I'm just kind of leaving them alone because I actually messed with one, and as soon as I did, I ended up knocking it off. So I'm going to just not touch them and see what we can do. Next update is those root vegetables that we planted a while ago. The carrots are not looking so great. The beets are doing all right, but the big story is the turnips, which if you look down here, we've got a couple of really nice purple top turnips right there, and those are doing really well. If you look up from this side, we got some more of those watermelons that are up here. Another one all the way up high. By far the best producer this year has been these hot peppers. I have harvested just absolutely tons of them, and the more I cut, the more I get. It has just been incredibly prolific. I've cleaned off full gallon-sized bags of Ziplocs with these guys, and they just keep coming. I'm amazed at how quickly they grow. So that's been a huge success. On the sweet peppers, they have really come into their own just recently. I've been harvesting, I harvested a huge bowl full just the other day. I just cleaned off the whole plant, and we got a whole bunch that are growing on here, and I'm hoping it's going to keep flowering. The sweet peppers were really kind of a disappointment for me for the first part of the year, but I feel like they're really finally starting to get going. So that's an exciting thing to finally feel like that works well. I think I'm going to plant them a little bit differently next year. The real close together was not terribly bad, but I think if I had not had the beans and I had spread them out just a little bit farther, they would have produced a lot better. You'll see right here there is a big gap where there used to be a ton of cucumbers. That's because my cucumbers took a beating as of late. They started to get some of the powdery mildew, and then after that they just started getting attacked by squash beetles, and the next thing I knew, I'd gone away for a week and they were totally dead. So that was the end of that. But you can see the tomatoes are still going strong. We got a little bumblebee up here doing his job. I actually cut them back a huge amount and topped them off. This plant was so big I couldn't get to my fruit on the inside, and so I actually came back after that week and I had some fruit that was rotting, which kind of breaks your heart. So I cut this out dramatically. Next year I am going to definitely make sure that I cut and continue pruning intensively the whole way through, just because otherwise you're just going to lose too much fruit because you can't see where to harvest from. Now over here is the sweet pea currant cherry tomato, which has kind of taken over everything. They're planted all the way over here. They're in this side, and yet they have come all the way over to here. I need to come out here and harvest a ton of them because they're just everywhere. Delicious, but everywhere. And since they're so small, they really are a bit of a challenge to harvest. I've been cutting off the whole piece at a time and just kind of bringing them inside and then harvesting them in there. Over here you see the cucumber trellis now laying down on the ground back here, and the back side of the tomatoes, which are still getting more ripe tomatoes on them, which is great, considering I just froze 5 bags of tomatoes. I wanted to get my canning stuff together, but I wasn't able to pull it off, so instead I just froze things so that we didn't have any rot. But you see, even all the way back here, we have tomatoes continuing to ripen back there. So, and here's a nice shot of a nice little bumblebee. Well, maybe not. Brandywines are still on the vine. I still got more of them coming. I did not freeze any of those. I've been keeping those so that we can just eat those. And hopefully we'll continue to harvest some of those. Some of those guys have some blossom end rot. I still lost some of the brandywines to blossom end rot. That was really kind of the bane of the existence for tomatoes this year. But other than that, things looking really well. Again, the more you harvest, the better, because the tomatoes will then be able to work more on the other fruits that are on the vine, as opposed to just working on the ones that are not. So here's my one innovation that I really want to document for next year, and that is this. As my tomato plants started getting really tall and I was clearing off all these bottom branches, I started getting new suckers coming up from the bottom of the plant. And what I did was, I actually started clearing off all the leaves and then making space for the new suckers to become a new vine altogether coming from the base of the plant, because I just didn't have any more room to grow up. And I figured this might be easier. And if you look down here, I already have a whole bunch of tomatoes where that process has worked really well. So I think next year I'm going to try to do that earlier in the season. And so in effect, I'm going to clear off all the branches on the bottom part of the plant earlier, and then top the plant earlier on in the season, so that I can then get these guys to start coming up from the bottom earlier, so that way I'm essentially reusing that space in the bottom and the middle twice, as opposed to trying to get up on a ladder and reach up there and get the tomatoes. So, just an innovative idea. It seems to be working really well. I'm actually kind of amazed at how quickly these tomatoes are coming in down here that I've been doing that with. You can see those two there on the right. So, hope this is helpful for anybody who is out there, who is a rookie gardener. As I've said many times, I have appreciated these little videos that people put on the internet, because it's taught me quite a bit about how to do this, and anybody can do it. It really is great. If you just study up a little bit, you can have fresh vegetables every day. Have an excellent Labor Day, everybody. Take care.